Hey guys and gals, and welcome to another video from the team here at BlenderTech.com. If you enjoyed or learned something, feel free to like the video and to subscribe for daily Blender, Unity 3D, coding, Photoshop, and all sorts of other videos. Lastly, don't forget our motto, create your way. So today I'm going to be comparing the differences between the Unity engine and the Unreal 4 engine that is fairly recently just came out to compete with Unity. I'm also testing out my new whiteboard idea at the start of my videos versus rambling on with just a basic screencast. So let's go over the basics of the Unity versus the Unreal 4 engine that I've been able to differentiate so far. So I don't have necessarily pluses and minuses for each one, but I've come up with some core ideas between the two and how they differentiate between each other. Basically, overall, my conclusion is that use the one that feels most comfortable for you and start with one and don't switch. But if you know C++, Unreal 4 definitely has some great benefits, at least until Unity 5 comes out. So at the top of my list, I have Unity ease of use. Unity is very easy to use. It's easy to learn. You can jump right in and start creating simple things, and you get right along with it. It's very intuitive if you know what you're doing, especially if you've used 3D graphics programs before and you understand the concept of 3D space. Unity also uses C# and JavaScript, so C# is a bit easier to learn, JavaScript very much easier to learn, and C# a very powerful language. However, Unreal 4 uses C++, a lot harder language to learn, but much more powerful. Building on that, Unreal 4 also gives you the source code to the engine, so that allows you to edit any amount or any part, of the engine that you want and recompile it, and then you get your own personal coded changes to the Unreal Engine. So you can code anything you want into the engine and have it built in your way. Now that's going to take a lot of development time, so if you're just a single indie developer or a small team, say 10 or less people, maybe Unreal 4 might be a bit too much for you. Now the advantages to the source code are minor for the indie developer or the single user developer, because most of the time you're not going to need to delve into the source code, because you're going to have very little errors. Unity and Unreal 4 are both extremely stable, and generally you're not going to have an error that is traceable back to the source code of the actual engine. Unity does offer the source code to their engine, but I believe it's $50,000 a year per seat, or $50,000 per seat anyways, so that's extremely expensive compared to what you get. The amount of code in Unity, I would guess, is a lot less than in Unreal. In Unreal 4, the source code that I got, it was 3 gigs big, and it bogged my 6 core processor down running at 4 gigahertz with 16 gigs of RAM, and it took about a half hour to compile, and that was pretty fast. I closed everything off. I put all of my processing power into Visual Studio 2013. That's one more thing to note. Unreal 4, if you're going to build it from source especially, requires Visual Studio 2013. Now you can use the free version. However, I've also switched to using Visual Studio 2013 in Unity, so that's kind of a moot point for me personally. I didn't like the way Mono was working in Unity. It's an old version. They've had issues where they don't want to pay for a new version of Mono in Unity, and so I've switched to using Visual Studio in Unity for editing all my scripts, and it is so much better. It is like day and night. I suggest you do that. I might make a tutorial on how to make the switch. It's very easy. All you need to do is simply download an add-on for Visual Studio 2013, and then it's about 10 seconds of setup once you start a new Unity project, and from then on you get to use Visual Studio for editing your scripts in Unity. And that allows you to do real-time debugging in your IDE. So in Visual Studio 2013, you can debug your code on the fly instead of having to save your code in mono and then go back into Unity to see if there's any errors in the code you've designed. That is such a time saver in itself. Anyways, continuing down, Unreal 4 ships with a map editor, so you can edit maps on the fly, kind of like SimCity. You can use brushes to raise and lower the terrain. You have a wide variety of brushes available to you to edit a map and to create, well, basic terrain, I guess, more or less. But it also has a full-fledged map editor, and you may remember this from the old days of the original or the previous Unreal versions, the map editor, and how powerful it is. You can create instant spawn points, and you can drop items and stuff like that right onto the map. Unreal 4 out of the box also contains the ability for visual scripting using what they call blueprinting. And so that is very, very, very powerful. It comes right out of the box, like I said. Now, this is all backwards. I'm not used to using a camera like this. Unity does allow you to do this using middleware like Playmaker, which has about the same functionality, but obviously it's not out of the box. It's a third party, so you have to deal with two parties now. And taking Unreal 4 into the equation, you can go and edit the source code yourself if you need to make a change to the way blueprinting and visual scripting works. However, on the flip side, using something like Playmaker on Unity, you can allow the developer to make all the updates and you get them automatically without having to do any work, but you might not get the features you specifically want, whereas if you know C++, you can code them right into Unreal 4. Unreal 4 also allows whiteboxing, which is basically just prototyping levels by taking geometric shapes and stretching them in any kind of way. It's almost like a mini 3D editing program like Blender or Maya within it. But there's also, like I said, middleware like Pro Builder in Unity in the asset store that you can use to do the same kind of thing. Again, it's not quite the same, and one may be more powerful than the other. We run into the same issues as with visual coding. One more small point is, again, this Unreal 4 comes with these features, whereas Unity you have to pay more money to the developers of these middleware add-ons. On the Unity side, it uses an old version of NVIDIA's physics engine. It's a few versions late, so the physics aren't completely up to date. And if you've played any game like Construction Simulator, you'll know that the physics get very, very, very wonky sometimes. You can code your way around that. You can work your way around that, but it's not going to be 100% perfect all the time. Unreal 4, on the other hand, has its own physics engine, I believe. I don't think it uses physics, and it seems much more stable. I will show you the advanced vehicle pre-made project on Unreal coming up, and you'll see how cool that is. Building on the Unity side, I said there is diversity because Unity allows you to make 2D games, 3D games, RPGs, first-person shooters, third-person stealth games, or whatever. Whereas Unreal 4 is first-person shooter-based. It was made to build all the Unreal games. It's been used to make most AAA quality first-person shooters game. That said, it has been used to make any kind of game imaginable, racing games, whatever, and the pre-made demo projects within Unreal 4 demonstrates these capabilities. Now, continuing on into Unreal, it has real-time global lighting enabled in the viewport as well as when you go to actually test and play your game within the editor. And it's beautiful. I'm just going to say that right now. It is beautiful. Now, I've seen the demos for Unreal 5, and it also looks very nice, but I haven't been able to use it in real time, actually, yet, so I've only seen videos, so that's kind of yeah, we're going to show the best parts in the trailer. You won't actually get that kind of results right out of the box. Whereas in Unreal 4, the lighting is all calculated perfectly and beautifully and has all the newest features that you would think and need for lighting, like SSS, SSAO, HBAO, things like that, tessellation, things like that are all built right in, and it looks beautiful. But when Unity 5 comes out, that may change. Going down the list, almost to the end, Unity has the asset store, again, where you can get all the middleware you need for absolutely any kind of thing you might want to add onto your project. But this can bog down your project. That's where you might want to code it yourself. Unity 4 does have a marketplace, but at the moment it is very, very sparse. There's not a lot there. A reason for this probably is because most of the stuff ships with Unreal 4, but there's not a lot there. That's, I believe, because there's a ton more community members on Unity versus Unreal 4. The community for Unreal, or for Unity, sorry, is just multiplied times bigger. Yeah, it's not even comparable. And lastly, compatibility. Unity is compatible with almost anything. You can import .obj files, you can import Collider files, it supports .blend files right out of the box, it supports a ton of file formats, and everything's drag and drop. That said, Unreal 4 is drag and drop. It just doesn't have the compatibility with things like .blend files, but that's a minor point. And one last thing to bring up is Unreal 4 has a ton of extra features like Matinee, where you can kind of storyboard things and create cutscenes by recording parts of your project in real time. So that's very nice for creating things like cutscenes. And the quality. I don't mean like the lighting quality, I just mean the overall quality. Everything just looks much more beautiful right out of the box in Unreal 4. In Unity, when you create a cube, it looks just very plain and basic and unrealistic. Whereas in Unreal 4, it looks beautiful right out of the box. And they work very similar. It's just drag and drop new game objects. So let's move into the actual programs, and let's look at the differences between them. So I have Unreal 4 open here, and you can see we have Blueprint or C++. So Blueprint, as you can see, it says, Blueprint templates require no programming language. All game mechanics can be implemented using Blueprint visual scripting. Each template includes a basic set of blueprints used as a starting point for your game. So this is similar again to Pro Builder on Playmaker in Unity, but in my opinion, it's easier to use and probably more advanced. Although I haven't delved into it at all. I've only played with Unity or Unreal 4, for a few hours, and then C++ says it has a few examples, but basically all the code is there, and you have to code anything else you want in yourself. Now the starting files are the same. It's just one is coded in C++ and one uses Blueprint, and then you can build from there depending on which one you want. And in Unreal 4, again, you have desktop or console or mobile/tablet. This is where the compatibility thing comes in again. Out of the box, it supports desktop most likely heavily, but there is APIs and whatever that you can add on to Unreal 4 that allows you to build your projects out to Android or iOS or whatever. However, Unreal 4 is much more taxing, so you have to consider that when you're developing your games or whatever. Again, Unreal allows you to choose maximum quality and scalable 2D 3D or 2D. So basically you can create like a vector-based game, or you can choose maximum quality, which again has the real-time lighting, the SSAO, the tessellation, the HDR, everything. And then you have starter content or no starter content. So that's things like I said, the whiteboarding. So you have a bunch of basic design level pieces like doors and windows and walls and stuff like that. And That's about all there is to it. So in Unreal, you have a first-person shooter template, you have a flying game template, you have a puzzle game template, and so on and so forth. Again, see, you can do third person, you can do top down. So Unreal really has changed into a much more usable game engine. And you can see twin stick shooter. So this is made for mobile devices. But anyways, I'm going to start up a advanced vehicle template in Blueprint just to show you the differences, or just to show you how things work in general, I guess. And I just wanted to quickly bring up a point. When I opened up Unity today, I see that Unity 4.6 is now available. So that has the new UI system and DirectX 11. And I guess changes to Mechamin, and it says real-time shadows. It says the particle system has been updated with collision functionality, external forces. So that's great. We can add things like wind and stuff, and a bunch of other things. So I'm going to be trying that out very, very soon, and we'll see how that works. I'm very excited for the new UI features. That means we won't have to code our UI anymore. It'll be built right in. You'll have a UI tab, I believe, from the videos, and you can go and add boxes and progress bars and whatever, and buttons and check boxes, radio boxes, whatever. Anyways, back to Unreal, since that's what we're going to start with. Since I'm sure you're used to Unity, I'm going to create my advanced vehicle project. Now you'll see that it takes about the same time to create your project from stock as it does in Unity. Maybe slightly slower, but again, there's a lot more stuff for it to use, and I'm using starter content. But again, that's fairly fast. That was not that long, and I don't have a top of the line computer. You can see I'm in 64-bit. Unreal 4 has 32 and 64-bit compatibility right out of the box, whereas Unity is kind of a little on the edge when it comes to 64-bit compatibility when it comes to building your project. So we are ready to go. This is the interface you get when you start a Blueprint-based Unreal 4 project. So you have the scene outliner. That's kind of like the hierarchy window in Unity. So you can see blocking volume 11. I can move it just the same as I would in Unity. I have the same kind of gizmos. I do like that the axes are colored the same way as in Blender, because I use Blender, but you can change that in Unity, so that's fairly moot. And yeah, so this is basically like your hierarchy window. And I like that it shows you what kind of type it is right beside it, so you get a little more information in that window. And you have view options. You can say only in the current level. You can hide temporary things. You can show only selected things, only things that you have selected in here. And I like the UI a little bit better, or the viewport editor a little bit better in Unreal 4, because you can change from perspective to any other orthographic view just like that. And there's also hotkeys. You can choose lighting just instantly like that. You can choose level of detail just like that. You can check on or off different things you want to show. You can show FPS and stats right instantly. You can do that in Unity too, but I just find that this is a lot easier. You have bookmarks that you can set, so you can set different locations as a bookmark and directly jump right to there. You can set your camera right here, so it creates a new camera. They call it an actor at the current location of viewport's camera. You can take a high resolution screenshot. That's kind of cool. You have different layouts, and you can create new layouts, and you have advanced settings. And again, you have different view options. So you have, just like in Unity, the translate, rotate, and scale. And then you also have the coordinate system. You have snapping options. So Unreal works on a grid-based system, which is kind of nice. So you don't have to use an add-on in Unity like one of the grid add-ons. You have grid snapping available to you at any time, and you can choose the increments. You also can snap to certain degrees or divisions of 360. And you can also choose the scale of the grid. So if I choose 10, the grid gets 10 times bigger, or however much, whatever setting it was at. And the camera speed you can change. So just a few cool options that I really enjoyed. And then over on the left hand side here, you have things that you can add automatically. So well, let's start with the content browser. That would be like your project folder in Unity. That's where you keep all your assets and stuff. It's not quite as well laid out like this in Unity, but obviously you can lay it out any way you want, so that's a moot point again. But it's nice that you can add things just like this. It's very easy, no drop-down lists. You have everything. You have basic, lights, visual, BSP. That's the whiteboarding kind of thing I was telling you about. And geometry editing. So if I added a box, let's add just a simple cube in somewhere. Let's move it up a little. Oh, I'm scaling. Let's just move it up a little. I haven't remembered the hotkeys for this yet. But let's add a cube there, and then let's take the geometry editor, and you have basic tools. You can extrude. You have a pen tool. You can do all sorts of things. You can triangulate it. You can do all sorts of things. So basically, you can edit the geometry all you want. Again, I haven't fully figured this out, but I know for a fact this is going to be very, very, very useful when it comes to whiteboarding, to creating demos of your levels and such. But anyways, let's just hit play to see what it's like. If you check here, you can do a bunch of different things. You can have a mobile preview, and you can choose where the player spawns. You have network settings right there, and you can also launch. So you can launch it on devices that you have all over. So I can launch it on an iOS device that's automatically virtualized, and you can add Android support. But anyways, let's hit play and see how this works. Ooh, that's loud. So yeah, this is the basic vehicle simulator. So I like how it's built up, and I want to show you the physics, how cool they are. So we got some, check out the independent suspension when we go over these speed bumps. I'll go real slow. The independent suspension is so cool. The physics in this, the physics in Unreal4 are so realistic, and update so well that I just love them. They're fun to play with. I haven't, like I said, I haven't delved into this to see if they're actually stable and how much you can change them to your needs, but just using this as an example, I can tell that they are pretty powerful. You can see that if you get kind of up on a speed bump like this and you give it just a little bit of gas, you can see that there's slippage built in, but then when you get enough traction, it just goes. So you can see, yeah, pretty realistic physics. And again, the worlds like this, you can sculpt with brushes, so that's very nice. So just using something like this, with no scripting, or with no programming knowledge, you could probably build some sort of game like a rock crawling game or something using this basic setup. You could just simply either buy or create a car model and then use this setup, maybe and then do some visual scripting just to add some menus and some different levels, and then you can sculpt your different levels, and you can build your entire game just like that. So I think that you could build some basic advanced games fairly quickly in Unreal4. And you can see the global illumination, like I said, is just beautiful. We just have basic shaders, just basic diffuse colors with a little bit of specularity basically, but you can see how the light updates in real time and how beautiful it is. I am absolutely just in love with the real-time lighting, and you can see like the level of detail at distances and fog. Is there fog in this one? No, but in like the first-person shooter, let me go into that quickly. press escape to get your mouse button back. I am going to quit this, start a new project, and I'm going to do a first-person shooter because everybody creates first-person shooters. Now, when I first started this, I expected there to be like some enemies and stuff, but there's not. You just shoot at cubes, but it's still pretty cool. So let's hit play. So yeah, we just have this basic walk around game already built for us, and you can, like I said, you can see the lighting is just beautiful. The nice soft shadows depending on where you're sitting, the reflection off of your character model, the lens flare, the skybox is beautiful. I just think it looks beautiful. And yeah, so in this one you just shoot boxes. And you can see the physics are very realistic, so you have essentially ricocheting bullets that can interact with themselves as well as with other objects. So they go into a corner, all the balls can collide off themselves, they collide off me. This is all set up from stock. So anyways, yeah, the blueprinting right in here. Let's open level blueprint. So yeah, it works the same way on a node system, and you can see up here this button, it gives you a tutorial on anything. It's in all these windows, and it basically just gives you, it has tutorials available for everything. So yeah, blueprints works basically exactly the same way as Playmaker. You can add your variables, functions, you have macros you can add, and all sorts of other things. And yeah, basically you build it out the exact same way as Playmaker. So yeah, I have a new variable that I called new var. I can get from it, I can set from it, etc. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. And I really don't know what I'm doing because I don't do visual scripting, but yeah. Functions, I don't even know what public, protected, private, so you have all these different things. As long as you know the basic things, inputs, new, so we can have a new transform. So this function now creates a new transform, just like that. Yeah, I don't know how it works exactly. I don't do visual scripting, but it is there. I'm not gonna dive into the C++ part because I don't know. I only know the basics of C++. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of show you that in a half hour. Like I said, there's really no differences. It's really your preference. I mean, go into Unity and with 10 minutes of work, I've got essentially the same kind of thing set up. It's just not as realistic looking yet. Yes, you can get the same level of quality, I believe. It's just going to take a lot more work in Unity. Yeah, so that is all there is to it, I have to say at this point. So yeah, I'm going to leave it off there. I'm not going to show you anything about Unity because I believe that you would be a Unity user trying to think if you should switch to Unreal 4. I have to say, if you're just starting out, decide what you want, but the major decision factor, in my opinion, is if you know C++ or not. If you know C++, great. Unity4 might be for you, especially once they start getting things on the marketplace. If compatibility is an issue for you, if you don't use all the pro tools like Maya and such, if you just want to use Blender and whatever and the free version of Unity, great, more power to you. But Unreal 4 is very powerful. That said, I'm going to stick with Unity for now. I'm going to wait and see until Unity 5 comes out. I'm going to learn C++ a little more because I want to play with Unreal 4 some more. It looks very powerful in that degree. I can go in and I can basically redesign the engine completely all I want, as long as I know C++ from bottom to top as much as possible. And yeah, that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching from the team here at BlenderTech.com. Again, that's BlenderTech.com. If you enjoyed this video and learned something, please like it. Don't forget to subscribe for more Blender, Unity 3D, and programming videos. We're now on Twitter at twitter.com/Blender_tech. That's at blender_tech and Facebook at facebook.com/blendertech page, all one word, Blender Tech page. We also now offer hard copies of our videos, so if you'd like a copy to download on your computer to watch later, let us know and we'll upload it to our server for you to watch later in the media player of your choice. If you dislike this video for some reason, don't just leave and hit the dislike button. Instead, leave a comment or email the team at info@blendertech.com about what you did or did not like. We also take requests for tutorials, so let us know what you want or want more of. See you next time. Remember, create your way.